The stars stretched across the black sky like tiny fires, and yet tonight, something felt different. Traders, soldiers, and travelers across the galaxy kept looking at their comm screens, waiting for signals from Earth, waiting for the steady flow of human chatter that had always filled the void. But there was nothing. Not a whisper. Not a sound. The humans were silent. At first, most thought it was a glitch, maybe a broken relay. Maybe a solar flare had knocked out the long-range transmitters. But then hours turned to days. Days turned to weeks. No word came from Earth. No ship came from Sol. Human colonies on the edge of alien space fell quiet one after another. The silence spread like a dark wave. The galaxy had grown used to humanity's noise. Humans had filled every port with their songs, their arguments, their trade, their constant hunger for adventure. They were reckless, but they were dependable. If pirates struck, human warships came. If trade broke down, humans rebuilt it. Now that noise was gone. The galaxy noticed the emptiness. It felt colder without them. On the fourth week, a Zalorian merchant captain passed near the edge of Sol, space. His scanners picked up a human vessel drifting aimlessly. Its lights were dead, its engines cold. The ship looked like a ghost. The captain sent drones to investigate. Inside the vessel, there were no humans, not a single body, not a trace of struggle. The food still sat on tables, coffee cups still half full, as if the crew had simply vanished. The merchant captain reported this across the star lanes. Soon whispers filled every market. The humans are gone, some said. They destroyed themselves, others added. But old captains shook their heads. They knew humanity. Humans did not vanish quietly. Humans fought. Humans screamed. Humans made sure the galaxy remembered their last stand. But now, only silence remained. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Alien leaders sat around a great table floating above a gas giant. They argued in their strange voices. Some celebrated. At last the humans will not trouble us with their wild wars, others said. Some feared, if the humans are gone, pirates will rule the lanes. Who will protect the small colonies? One senator asked. The debate raged, but no answers came. Meanwhile, strange reports arrived. An automated human mining station had shut itself down. A human colony beacon sent only one message. Do not enter Sol. No voice, no explanation. Just that warning over and over again. Do not enter Sol. Aliens tried to decode it, but it was clear. Earth was warning the galaxy to stay away. But who was sending the signal if the humans were gone? A group of daring explorers ignored the warning. They entered Sol space with cloaked ships, hoping to find treasure among abandoned colonies. They found wrecks, thousands of wrecks, human ships floating in silence. Some looked destroyed, some perfectly fine but dead inside. They dared not approach Earth itself. The planet glowed faintly behind a wall of strange energy, a shield no alien had seen before. The explorers fled in fear, swearing never to return. Out in the distant stars, alien children asked their parents, where did the humans go? Some said, they are sleeping. Some said, they are dead. But in every answer there was unease. The galaxy felt incomplete without human laughter, without human anger, without human warships cutting across the stars. Even those who hated them missed them now. And then, one night, deep in a quiet corner of the galaxy, an old alien warship picked up a signal. It was faint, almost broken, but it was human. A voice spoke, repeating the same words. We are not gone. We are waiting. The crew froze in silence. No coordinates, no explanation, just that haunting promise. We are waiting. The message spread in secret, carried from ship to ship, whispered in taverns, passed in codes. Some said it was a trap. Some said it was proof. Humans were not finished. They were hiding, preparing, changing into something new. The galaxy leaned closer to the dark silence of Sol, wondering, fearing, hoping. What had happened to Earth? Why had it gone silent? And when humanity spoke again, what would they bring with them? The silence was no longer just silence. It was a shadow stretching over every star. It was a question that no one could answer. It was a promise that the story of humanity was not over. It had only begun again, in a way no one could yet understand. The last signal still echoed across the stars, warning and waiting, and the galaxy trembled as it listened. The galaxy was restless. Space stations that once echoed with human traders now felt empty. Markets that had been alive with human bargaining grew quiet. For weeks, whispers spread like smoke. No one trusted official reports anymore. Everyone wanted to know what had truly happened to Earth. Rumors carried faster than light. A Thrixian freighter claimed they had found a human warship drifting near the Kuros belt. Its hull was marked with strange symbols that did not belong to any human fleet. A Yonar scout said they had seen lights flickering in abandoned human colonies, like shadows moving behind windows. Some even swore that they heard human voices calling through static on dead channels. The Galactic Council tried to calm the people. They announced that humans had likely suffered a collapse, that their silence was the end of a reckless species, but no one believed it. The galaxy had seen humans fight endless wars, rise from disasters, and crawl back even after losing entire fleets. Humans did not end in silence. Something else had happened, something greater. On the far edge of known space, a small pirate crew picked up a faint signal. It was not a distress call. It was coded. Repeating endlessly, the pirates cracked the message. Their captain laughed when he read it aloud. Do not follow the silence. Do not search Earth. It was written in human code. But why would humans warn others away? Pirates being pirates, they ignored it. They slipped into Sol space under cloak, hunting for salvage. The wrecks were endless. Human ships floated like gravestones in the dark, empty of life. Some ships had scorch marks from battles. Some looked untouched but powered down. One pirate walked through a human cruiser, finding personal items still lying around, boots in the hall, food on the table. Everything was normal, except there were no humans, not a single one. It felt as if they had simply walked away. When the pirate crew tried to leave, their systems froze one by one, their controls locked, the ship's lights dimmed, and through the static of their comms came a low voice. It was human. You were warned, it said. The pirates begged, swore they meant no harm, but the voice only repeated, you were warned. Moments later, their ship drifted powerless. It was later found near the edge of Sol space, engines dead, crew gone. The story spread like fire. The galaxy grew even more afraid. Some alien leaders said it was a human trick. Some said it was proof of their extinction. But others, the old veterans who had fought beside humans in wars, shook their heads. They whispered that humanity was not gone. They were hiding. One of the most unsettling reports came from a convoy near the Lorne Nebula. The convoy claimed that an entire formation of black warships appeared from hyperspace. They were shaped like human ships, but darker, sharper, and silent. Not a single signal came from them. They surrounded the convoy for 1 full hour, then vanished without firing a shot. The convoy returned home trembling. Every alien who heard the story asked the same question. Were those humans or something new born from them? Across the taverns of the galaxy, smugglers and wanderers began calling it the Ghost Fleet. Some laughed, some dismissed it, but no one wanted to be the first to test the truth. Back in the council chambers, the debates turned fierce. The Varlan Empire demanded the galaxy declare humans extinct and divide their old territories. The Koresh Union warned that moving into Sol space was suicide. The silence is not death, their ambassador hissed. It is waiting. But no one could agree. Meanwhile, something stranger began to happen. Small alien colonies on the fringe reported being visited by unknown ships, not attacking, not speaking, just scanning. One colony swore they saw humans walking on their soil, but their faces glowed faintly, their eyes burning like blue fire. When the colonists tried to approach, the figures vanished into light. Every report added more fear. Humanity had always been unpredictable, but now they were more than that. Now they were unknown. The silence was no longer empty. It was full of whispers, shadows, and warnings. Children across the stars asked, Will the humans come back? Their parents gave different answers. Some said no, some said yes, but every time, they looked into the dark sky with unease. And then, one night, a signal shook the galaxy. It was faint, old, broken, but unmistakably human. It said only one phrase: "We are not gone, we are watching." That was all. No coordinates, no demands, just those chilling words. Aliens who heard it could not sleep. Fleets stayed on high alert. Smugglers refused to pass near Sol, and the galaxy began to realize something. Humanity had not fallen into silence. Humanity had become silence itself, a silence that listened, that watched, and that waited for the right moment. The whispers in the void grew louder, not in sound but in fear. Humanity was not finished. Humanity was preparing, and the galaxy trembled, in anticipation of the day when the silence would finally break. Trade routes collapsed like broken strings across the galaxy. Without humans, the balance that held empires together began to fall apart. In the past, humans had always been there, quick to send warships against pirates, quick to fix supply lines. When colonies ran out of food, they were noisy, reckless, always arguing, but they kept the wheels of the galaxy turning. Now, with their silence, cracks spread wider every day. In the Xyler cluster, pirates took over 3 major lanes. Their ships struck convoys without fear. Alien merchants begged for protection, but the great empires looked the other way. They were too busy fighting among themselves. The Varlon Empire moved fleets into disputed territory. The Koresh Union answered with force. Battles flared in regions where humans had once kept uneasy. Peace. Alien senators argued in endless circles. Some said humans were extinct. Some said they had only hidden. Some said humanity had abandoned the galaxy to destroy itself. But none could deny the truth. The galaxy was breaking without them. A Sharon. Scout ship made a report that spread fear everywhere. They claimed to have seen a massive vessel in the void, larger than any human dreadnought ever built. Its black hull swallowed light. Its engines did not glow. It drifted silently, watching. When the scouts tried to scan it, their systems overloaded and the ship barely limped back to safe space. The crew swore the vessel was human but changed, stronger, darker, as if humanity had rebuilt itself into shadow. Whispers called it the Black Titan. Some dismissed it, others feared it. But a pattern soon appeared. Wherever trade routes fell, wherever wars grew too wild, reports of black warships followed. They never fired, never spoke, but their presence alone made fleets hesitate. It was as if humanity was still there, pulling invisible strings. One night, an old freighter stumbled upon a graveyard. Thousands of human ships floated in silence near a dead star. Some bore scars of battle. Others were pristine, waiting. The freighter captain thought he had found salvage beyond measure. But as soon as his crew began to move closer, the ships lit up one by one, not with normal lights, but with a strange, pale glow. The freighter fled in terror, swearing the ships had awakened like ghosts. Meanwhile, smaller empires began to fear invasion. The absence of humanity had created power vacuums, and everyone wanted a piece of the old human roots. Some empires grew bold, claiming human colonies as their own. But those who did so found disaster. Colonies taken by aliens burned down in days. Fleets sent to hold them vanished in the void. No bodies, no wreckage, only silence. It was as if the galaxy itself protected what once belonged to Earth. The Galactic Council tried to hide these events, but word always spread. Miners, smugglers, captains, they carried stories faster than any official channel, and the stories always ended the same way. The humans are still here. You just can't see them. Fear turned to obsession. Spies and explorers were sent into Sol space. Few returned. Those who did came back broken. They spoke of a shield around Earth, not like anything seen before. A wall of bending light that swallowed entire fleets. One survivor swore he had heard millions of voices inside his head as his ship crossed the edge. Human voices, whispering the same word over and over. Wait! The galaxy grew darker as rumors piled higher. Wars spread, alliances broke, and Everywhere the question remained. Where had humanity gone, and what were they becoming? In the taverns and war councils, the stories grew bolder. Some said humans had merged with their machines, becoming something neither flesh nor metal. Some said Earth itself had changed, a living fortress hidden beneath strange shields. And others whispered that the silence was not weakness but preparation, that humanity had turned inward to build a weapon unlike anything before. Every empire prepared for the unknown. Some built larger fleets, some strengthened their borders, but deep down, no one truly believed they could resist if humanity chose to return. And then, across the stars, came the report that shook everyone. A Zorathi patrol near the Veil Nebula sent a frantic message before being cut off. They had seen a fleet, hundreds, of warships moving in perfect silence. They carried no flags, no lights, only shadows. The last words of the patrol captain echoed through the transmission. "They are not gone. They are waiting in the dark." The signal died. The patrol never came back. The galaxy froze in fear. Whispers turned into certainty. Humanity had not fallen. Humanity had not been erased. They had become something new, stronger, colder, and hidden in silence. The broken galaxy now belonged to chaos. But in that chaos, the shadow of humanity loomed larger than ever, and the question every empire now asked in secret halls was the same: if the humans had changed forever, what would they demand when they finally returned? Dark space hid many secrets, but none more frightening than the rumors of the Ghost Fleet. Across the galaxy, pilots swore they had seen shadows moving among the stars. Warships of human design but altered, blacker than night. Engines that left no heat. They did not speak, did not fire. They only appeared and vanished like hunters testing the herd. A Koresh patrol was the first to record one. 3 sleek ships, shaped like human destroyers but stretched longer, sharper, drifted out of hyperspace without warning. Their hulls reflected no light, only a strange shimmer. The Koresh captain ordered scans, but every system failed at once. Power flickered, and the patrol's weapons went offline. Then, just as suddenly, the ships turned and disappeared, leaving the crew shaking. The captain swore the ships had been watching them, studying them. When the recordings were shared in the council, debates erupted. Some said they were human experiments gone rogue. Others said they were tricks built by rival empires to stir fear. But the truth was harder to dismiss when more sightings followed. Convoys claimed entire squadrons of these ghost ships followed them for days, never firing a shot, never showing a crew, just shadows in the dark. Merchants began refusing to travel through old human trade lanes. Whole sectors turned silent, not because of piracy, but because of fear. Alien children whispered to each other that if you listened closely in the void, you could hear human voices calling. Some swore they heard words, warnings, promises, or even laughter. One brave explorer, Captain Veer of the Tesh Collective, tried to uncover the truth. She commanded a research vessel with a crew of 50. They set course toward the Sol system, ignoring the endless warnings. The closer they came, the stronger the silence felt. Not just absence of sound, but a weight pressing down on their minds. Her crew whispered of dreams filled with human faces, eyes glowing with cold blue light. Then, they found it. The Ghost Fleet. Hundreds of ships drifting together in a vast formation. Not wrecks, not derelicts, but waiting. Their black hulls shimmered like liquid metal. Weapons never seen before jutted from their frames, weapons that bent the stars around them. Veer's crew panicked, begging to flee, but she held steady. She sent a signal, pleading for contact. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then every screen aboard her ship went black. A single human face appeared, pale and sharp, eyes burning. With faint light, the figure spoke only 3 words: "Do not enter." Then the screens returned to normal, and the Ghost Fleet vanished without trace. The crew screamed, demanding retreat. Veer obeyed, though her heart trembled. She carried the message back, and her testimony spread across every empire: do not enter. It became a curse whispered in every port, but the more the warning spread, the more daring fools tried to test them. A Varlon warlord sent 5 battlecruisers into Sol space, hoping to prove humanity weak. They never returned. Only one lifeboat was later recovered. Inside were 3 Varlan soldiers, silent, eyes blank. They spoke no words, no screams. They only repeated one phrase again and again. "We were warned." They died days later without explanation. The Council could no longer deny it. Humanity was not gone. Humanity had changed. And their ships, their fleets, were stronger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Yet still, they remained silent. They did not conquer, did not explain, they only watched. Fear spread into paranoia. The empires began arming themselves, not against each other, but against the silence. Every ruler whispered in their palace, "If humanity returns, will we survive?" Some believed humanity had become machines. Some believed they had unlocked powers beyond the natural. And some whispered darker things, that humans had chosen silence to hide the cost of their transformation, that they had sacrificed part of themselves to ascend. But one thing was clear: the Ghost Fleet was not a rumor. It was real. It was waiting. It was awakening. And across the galaxy, as warlords clashed and colonies starved, the thought haunted every mind. Humanity had once been loud, reckless, alive. Now they were shadows in the dark, cold, patient, silent. The day they chose to break that silence, the galaxy knew. Everything would change forever. The Ghost Fleet had awakened, and it was only the beginning. It began without warning. No alarms, no threats, no declaration of war. One morning, entire alien capitals awoke to find human warships surrounding their skies. Hundreds of vessels hung, in orbit, silent, unmoving. They did not fire a single shot. They did not send a single hail. They only watched. On the world of Koresh Prime, the greatest of the Union planets, the sky was filled with black hulls stretching from horizon to horizon. People screamed and fled. Defense fleets scrambled to respond. But the moment they powered weapons, every system failed. Engines died, cannons locked, shields collapsed. The human ships had not even moved, but they controlled everything. The same thing happened in the Varlan Empire, in the Xylar clusters. In a dozen other sectors, entire capitals surrounded by silent fleets, no battle, no blood, only cold fear. The message was clear. Humanity could take everything in an instant, and there was nothing anyone could do. Finally, on the 3rd day of silence, the ship spoke. Not through comms, not through transmissions, but through every device in every system. Screens lit up, projectors glowed, even broken machines sparked alive. And across them all, the same human face appeared. The figure was tall, pale, with eyes glowing faintly blue as though light lived inside them. His voice was calm, controlled, and heavy like stone. "Humanity has changed," he said. "We warned you to stay away, we warned you to let us be, but you ignored. Now the galaxy will follow a new order." The words echoed in every language, in every mind. The message ended, and the fleets remained, still silent, still unmoving. But the damage was done. Entire governments panicked. Armies tried to rally. Councils screamed at one another. No one knew what new order meant. And fear grew larger than any war. Merchants refused to leave ports. Colonists fled from border worlds. Pirates abandoned their prey and hid in dark systems. All eyes turned to the black warships above their skies, waiting for the next command. Some empires tried to fight. The proud Varlan Emperor ordered his fleets to engage. He sent 3,000 ships against the human vessels around his capital, but when they opened fire, their own weapons turned against them. Cannons twisted, torpedoes detonated in their bays, engines ripped themselves apart. The entire fleet was gone in minutes, never even touching a single human ship. The message was clear. Resistance was not war. Resistance was suicide. But what did humanity want? Why surround the capitals and then remain still? Why not destroy? Why not conquer? Why only watch? In secret chambers, alien rulers debated. Some begged to surrender immediately. Some argued humanity was bluffing. But none could explain the truth. Why the silence? Why the restraint? Why the cold waiting? Then the whispers began, not in comms, not in official channels, but in dreams. Ordinary citizens across the galaxy claimed they heard voices in their sleep, human voices, Some spoke promises of peace. Others spoke warnings. Some swore they were given visions of Earth itself, glowing behind a shield of light, a place no alien had ever touched. The galaxy grew restless, terrified, but also curious. What had humanity become? What power let them control fleets without moving, turn weapons against their owners, whisper into the minds of billions? For the first time in centuries, the galaxy united in one feeling. Not pride, not rivalry, but fear. The old empires, once mighty, now felt like children in the presence of something far greater. On the fourth day, the human fleets moved not with weapons but with precision. They broke orbit and vanished into hyperspace, leaving every capital untouched. They left behind only silence, silence heavier than destruction, silence that carried more threat than any war. In the aftermath, the galaxy trembled. Some leaders claimed victory, insisting humanity had retreated. Others knew better. Humanity had not retreated. Humanity had shown restraint. They had made their message clear. We can end you, but we choose not to. For now. The phrase, "New Order," spread like fire. What did it mean? A human empire? A new alliance, or something darker? Something the galaxy could not yet imagine? The mystery grew heavier, but one truth could not be denied. Humanity had returned, not as the reckless species the galaxy remembered, but as something colder, stronger, unified. They no longer asked, no longer bargained. They commanded, and deep inside, every ruler, every soldier, every child knew the same thing. The silence was not weakness, it was preparation. The return of the warships was only the beginning. The galaxy waited, trembling, for the day when the silence would finally break, and the new order would truly begin. The galaxy had seen humans as many things: reckless traitors, stubborn warriors, unpredictable allies, but no one had ever imagined them like this. When the fleets appeared and vanished again, leaving no destruction behind, fear spread, but so did questions. Humanity was no longer divided into nations, corporations, and quarrelsome groups. They were one, united under a single voice. And that truth terrified everyone. Reports leaked from spies and wanderers who claimed to have glimpsed Earth behind its shimmering shield. They said the planet no longer looked the same. Its skies glowed faintly. Its surface shimmered with strange light. Great structures pierced through clouds taller than any alien city. Some whispered that Earth itself had become a fortress world, not just defended, but alive with new power. The strangest part was not the fleets, but the people. The few who claimed to have seen humans up close swore they were different. Their eyes glowed faintly, their movements sharper, more precise. They spoke less. But when they did, their words carried weight that bent the will of those who heard. Some alien scholars argued humanity had merged with technology. Others claimed they had altered their very genes. Whatever the truth, one thing was clear. They were no longer the same species the galaxy had once known. On the mining colony of Luthor, a merchant caravan was approached by a single human figure. No warship, no army, just one man walking out of the dust. His presence froze the guards. They lifted weapons, but could not fire. The man's eyes burned with blue light. He spoke a single sentence: "Do not fight the new order." Then he vanished into thin air, leaving only a footprint in the dust. The miners abandoned the colony within hours, whispering that the humans were no longer human at all. Rumors spread that the humans had discovered a way to bend space itself. Not through hyperspace drives, but through will. Fleets were said to appear in systems without any jump signatures, as if they simply chose to exist there. Alien commanders grew paranoid, ordering fleets to guard their skies. But it did not matter. Humanity could arrive anywhere, anytime, unseen, unstoppable. The council tried to negotiate. They sent envoys, ambassadors, priests, and even mercenaries disguised as diplomats. None returned. The only reply came as a pulse of light across the galaxy, a brief flare of energy that disabled comms for a single hour. When systems returned, a new message was written into every device. "You do not come to us, we will come to you." Panic grew. Empires prepared for invasion, but the invasion never came. Instead, humanity's fleets began to appear only when chaos threatened to. Spiral. Pirates raiding colonies found themselves surrounded by black warships. Within seconds, their vessels vanished. No wreckage, no escape pods, nothing left. When two empires clashed in battle near the rim, human ships appeared between them, both. Fleets fired, yet every blast was swallowed into nothingness. Neither side dared to continue. Humanity was not just enforcing silence. They were enforcing order. At first, some were relieved. For the first time in centuries, pirates could not roam free. Empires hesitated to attack their neighbors. Trade began to flow again. But the relief turned to unease. The galaxy realized that peace was no longer a choice. It was enforced, and the hand enforcing it was invisible, cold, and human. One alien historian compared it to the old days of humanity's rise. They were always loud, always eager. But even then, they had one truth they never gave up now. They have taken that truth and sharpened it into silence, and silence it was. The humans did not explain, did not demand tribute, did not even reveal their leaders, only fleets, warnings, and strange glimpses of glowing-eyed figures who spoke. In riddles, every empire was forced to obey, not because of loyalty, but because of fear. Speculation grew. Some said humanity had sacrificed part of themselves to become this way, that they had given up individuality, merged into one voice, one will. Others believed they had reached into something beyond science, beyond flesh and machine. Perhaps they had touched whatever lay in the heart of the universe itself. Still, not all accepted their rule. In the dark corners of the galaxy, warlords and admirals whispered of resistance. They gathered fleets in secret, building weapons they hoped might match the power of the Ghost Fleet. But even as they plotted, they knew deep down that resistance might not matter. Because humanity had already returned, not as the reckless explorers of old, but as something beyond recognition. They no longer asked for trust, no longer bargained for alliances. They no longer needed approval. They had become a force that did not need to explain itself. The new humanity was not simply stronger. It was something the galaxy could not yet understand. And the greatest fear was not that they would conquer, but that they had already decided the fate of everyone, and were only waiting for the right moment to announce it. The galaxy had lived with human laughter, human rage, human chaos. Now it lived with something far more terrifying, human silence. A silence that was not absence but presence. A silence that told the galaxy its future was no longer its own. It belonged to Earth, to the humans who had changed forever. And when the silence finally broke, the galaxy knew it would never be the same again. The galaxy had been holding its breath for too long. For months, fleets of black human warships appeared and disappeared without warning. They enforced silence, stopped wars, erased pirates, and yet never explained themselves. Some aliens whispered that this was mercy, others swore it was domination in disguise. But all of them knew the same truth. Humanity was no longer asking. Humanity was commanding. The first ambassadors of the new humanity arrived not in grand ships, but in silence. On the capital world of Xylar, a council of rulers gathered to demand answers. Their chambers were vast, with towers of crystal rising high into the atmosphere. Guards lined the halls, weapons primed. The rulers had prepared for war, but what came through the doors made their courage falter. 3 humans entered. Their forms were familiar yet unsettling, their faces calm, their movements too precise. Their eyes glowed with a faint blue fire, like stars burning behind glass. They wore no armor, no weapons, yet the guards froze, unable to raise their rifles. The humans looked at the council and spoke as one voice, though their mouths moved separately. The time of division is over. The silent accord begins. The rulers shifted nervously. Some shouted, "We will not kneel to you." Others demanded trade, demands, terms. But the humans only raised their hands, and every device in the chamber died at once. The lights, the screens, even the heartbeat monitors of the guards. All went silent. Only the faint glow in the humans' eyes remained. One ruler, braver than the rest, asked, "What is the silent accord?" The humans answered, "You will obey one law. Do not raise arms against another." Those who break it will not be spared. This is the order that will save the galaxy. The words spread faster than any fleet. In markets, in taverns, in war rooms, everyone whispered about the silent accord. Some called it peace, others called it slavery. For the first time in history, the galaxy's fate was no longer in its own hands. It was in the hands of humanity. But not all agreed to kneel. In the shadowy reaches of the Varlon Empire, admirals gathered in secret. They had built massive fleets, armed with new weapons, desperate to prove they could still defy. They swore they would not live under human shadow. They would fight even if it meant extinction. The Koresh Union was divided. Some leaders argued humanity had become too powerful to resist. Others believed that humans were still flesh and blood, that they could be destroyed. "If we stand together," one admiral roared, "we can still break them." The galaxy prepared. Itself the silent accord had been spoken, but not all would obey. Fleets began to gather in secret space, entire armadas waiting for the signal to strike. Old rivalries were forgotten, as enemies joined hands in desperation, not for peace, but for survival against the humans. Meanwhile, strange sightings grew more common. On border colonies, glowing-eyed humans appeared for moments, walking among the people before vanishing into thin air. They did not speak, but their presence left entire populations trembling. Some saw them as protectors, some saw them as ghosts. But everyone understood the same truth. Humanity was watching everywhere. The alien leaders tried to convince their people that resistance was possible. They showed them weapons, fleets, soldiers. But deep inside, fear whispered louder than hope. Because every story ended the same way. Humanity had already seen everything. Humanity had already prepared, and still, the galaxy wondered, what was the cost of this transformation? What had humanity given up to gain such power? Were these glowing-eyed figures even human anymore? Or something else wearing human faces? At last, the tension snapped. A secret alliance of 6 empires declared their intent. They would strike the Ghost Fleet. They would tear down the Silent Accord. Before it began, they gathered hundreds of thousands of ships in the Rim, ready to face humanity once and for all. But even as they gathered, they knew the truth in their hearts. Humanity had not yet shown its full strength. The black warships that had appeared so far were only shadows, only glimpses. The true fleets of Earth still slept behind the shielded planet, and when they awakened, the galaxy's greatest armadas might mean nothing. The ambassadors of humanity vanished as suddenly as they had come. Their words remained, heavy as stone: submit or be erased. Some rulers dismissed it as arrogance. Others heard it as prophecy. The galaxy now stood at the edge of choice: to accept the Silent Accord, surrendering freedom for survival, or to resist, risking annihilation at the hands of the species that had once been loud, reckless, and all too human. Now, they were something else. Something silent, unified, and terrifying. And as the fleets of resistance prepared for battle, every soldier, every captain, every leader asked the same question in the dark: what would happen when humanity revealed its true power? The galaxy trembled, knowing the silence would not last. The next move belonged to Earth, and when it came, it would decide the fate of all. The silence broke with light. For months, the galaxy had lived under the shadow of human warships, appearing, vanishing, enforcing their strange silent accord. Some bowed, some resisted, some hid in fear. But no one expected Earth itself to speak again. It began with a pulse, a wave of energy that rippled across the stars. Every comm screen, every beacon, every device, whether ancient or advanced, flickered alive. Across thousands of systems, billions of beings stopped what they were doing. As one sound filled the void, it was a human voice, deep, calm, and impossible to ignore. We were silent to prepare. It said, "Now we will lead or none will survive." The galaxy froze. The words carried not as translation but as truth. Each listener heard it in their own tongue, and yet they felt the weight behind it. Humanity had not fallen. They had ascended, and now they had returned to claim not vengeance, not conquest, but leadership. Moments later, the skies changed. From the depths of hyperspace, Fleets erupted across the galaxy, not in twos or tens, but in thousands. Entire armadas of human warships filled sectors once thought safe. Black hulls with glowing lines of energy, weapons that bent starlight itself. They did not fire, but their presence was enough. Every empire, every warlord, every pirate knew resistance meant extinction. On the world of Koresh Prime, citizens stared upward as the horizon filled with ships. The ground shook as energy fields hummed above them, yet no bombs fell, no destruction came, only silence and the unspoken reminder. Humanity controlled everything now. In the Varlon Empire, where admirals had sworn to defy, fleets scrambled to meet the threat. Their armada lit the skies with weapons fire, desperate to prove strength. But the blasts never landed. Human ships bent space itself, swallowing missiles, warping beams, twisting physics into nothing. Then the humans answered, not with weapons but with a single burst of light. In an instant, the Varlon fleet vanished. Thousands of ships erased as though they had never existed. The empires, capital surrendered within the hour. Other empires bent their knees without hesitation. Leaders broadcasted oaths of loyalty, promising to follow the silent accord, promising never again to raise arms against one another. They did not do it out of respect, they did it out of terror. But amidst the fear, something else stirred. For the first time in history, the galaxy felt unified. Not under treaties, not under alliances, but under one power that could not be defied. Trade resumed. Wars halted, pirates disappeared into shadows. It was order, not chosen but imposed, and the hand of order was human. Still, whispers spread of what had truly happened to Earth. What price had humanity paid to gain such power? Some swore they had given up individuality, merging into one vast will. Others claimed Earth had tapped into something beyond science, touching the heart of creation itself. And some feared the truth was darker, that humanity had sacrificed freedom, emotion, even their souls to ascend. On the shielded world itself, Earth glowed with strange energy. Its oceans shimmered silver beneath protective fields. Towers of light pierced the skies. No alien eyes had seen what lived inside. Some said Earth was no longer a planet but a living fortress, a mind that thought and watched. The galaxy wondered, would humans remain silent rulers forever? Or would they one day demand more? Would the silent accord be the end of freedom, or the salvation of all? In a forgotten tavern on a mining moon, an old alien whispered to his grandson, do not think the humans changed in silence. They were always this way. We just did not see it. They were never meant to be one of us. They were meant to lead or to end us. And far above that mining moon, as fleets of black ships drifted like silent guardians, the truth settled into every heart. Humanity had not been destroyed. Humanity had not abandoned the stars. Humanity had become something greater. When Earth spoke again, the galaxy realized it had never truly been free. It had only been waiting for the day when the children of Earth would rise and take their place. Now that day had come, and in that moment, as silence returned after the voice, the galaxy trembled with the knowledge that the story was no longer about empires, no longer about survival. The story was about humanity. And everything, every planet, every species, every life, would be changed forever.